Good afternoon.
Hi, everyone.
It
Happy
is that time of
September,
week.
Sam.
What's that?
It's September.
It is September and it feels like September. And
Yeah.
Michelle and I are part of the unpopular crowd who love the fall. So
Mhm.
we're here for it and we're pulling out our
Yeah.
scarves, getting ready for
Sweater weather.
I know, it's so exciting. Um, so we have, as we said last week, we have a guy here today who I'm pretty sure everybody in Truro knows.
Mhm.
So I'm not
And if
even
you
going to do
don't, you should. If you don't
Yeah,
know him, you should know him.
exactly right. So here he is, Mr. Raj Makkar.
Hey, how are you
Hey,
guys?
Raj.
Oh, wait a sec.
Good to see
like,
you.
like I said, I'm not very tech savvy.
Hey, you figured it out. That is all that matters.
The thing to keep in mind is that you are backwards. So,
Okay. Oh yeah.
yeah.
It always kind of freaks us out a little bit because it's mirror image. So you're trying to like point to something and you're getting all confused. So you're not the only one.
Or
How are
fix
you
your
guys
hair
doing?
and you don't know where you're going.
We're doing great. How are you?
Good. I was listening to your comment about enjoying the fall. So I'm not a big fall person. I'm one of those crowd that enjoy the summer, but there's one thing I do appreciate about the fall, and that my wife gets really bad hot flashes. so I'm like, bring on the cold weather.
I really hope Hema is watching right now. Hema, if you're watching, give us a thumbs up in the comments. That's awesome. But you know what? There is something to be said for that. There really is. And we're not there yet. Hey, Michelle, but you never
Not
know.
quite.
Hopefully that won't happen to you guys.
Yeah. So, Raj, I can't imagine how busy you are knowing that, in the last few months being at the hospital, and obviously trying to navigate through all of the changes that are happening. Maybe you can give us a little bit of insight into kind of what the life of a hospital employee has been like in the last few months.
Yeah, no, for sure. When things initially first happened, there was a lot of angst, a lot of questions, some even panic, about what we need. I'm sure everyone's now aware of what the acronym PPE stands for, personal protective equipment. So, and as things progressed and we started to get, patients, that sort of thing, that were COVID positive or patients, people testing positive, and as we got more education and learned from other areas and things, we learned ourselves. It's funny because it some of it felt very familiar because we were still going to work. You know what I mean? Like when you're going to the hospital, you're going there to help people and make sure your community is safe. So that didn't change. So that part stayed very familiar. But I look after a few departments at the hospital, and some of the big concerns I had personally was the safety of our staff, right? I mean, going home to families and kids, and are we doing the right things? Or because there was a lot of unknown. Now we've learned more, and now we're more prepared. Um, there's talk of a second wave. It's probably going to happen. But if it does happen, I feel that we're very, very prepared here, which bodes really well for our community.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And what departments is it? Because I know ambulatory care is one of them that you're
Yeah.
in charge of. What are the other ones?
So it's ambulatory care and the cardiac investigation unit
Okay.
and the intensive care unit. Yeah.
Is that all?
Well, yeah. Well, in ambulatory care, there's also oncology and a number of outpatient clinics. Like
Mhm.
there's dermatology and ear, nose, and throat and stroke clinic, just a number of clinics, that sort of thing. Yeah.
That's crazy. And so what part did you play? I feel like you played a part in also sort of the COVID tent, or were you part of kind of getting
Yes.
that initialized too?
Yeah, so that's something I like to say that as a result of COVID, I've done something that I probably would have never dreamt of doing in previous years. So I oversee the operation of, it's called the Primary Assessment Clinic, or people call it the COVID tent, and now it's a trailer. We moved to a trailer because uh, the staff, the weather, whether it was raining or
Right.
even extreme heat, it's really like when they would take their gloves off, it looked like some alien gel on their hands just from the heat alone, right? so, So now we have a trailer which the staff operate out of, which has air conditioning as well as heating, because I suspect that trailer isn't going anywhere anytime soon. So again, yeah, that's something that I oversee as well. But whether it's the departments that I look after or that trailer or the primary assessment clinic we call, I am very fortunate, and I think we're all very fortunate to have like such great physicians, such great staff, such great clinical team leads. I mean, it really is a team effort that makes everything run really smoothly. Yeah.
And being able to just act on the fly like that. I mean, emergency care is used to that on a good day, obviously, but just the hospital in general, I feel like has been thrown so many curveballs where it's like you just need to act and you don't have a whole lot of time to process.
It's true. Probably the best example I can give you of that during these past few months is that in Elmsdale, at one point, that was considered, they used the term themselves, the public health officials, a hotspot. So there were cases there back in April. So I literally got a call on a Friday afternoon from public health directives saying, we want to open up a COVID testing center in Elmsdale tomorrow.
Oh my God.
So
wow.
Off I went with my team, and supplies and everything that Friday evening, and we were ready to go. Like we were just, so many people came together so quickly to make sure that community was safe in a turnaround time of like 12, 24 hours. It was unbelievable. So yeah, so some of it is very reactionary. Like you get the call, you get the email, and then we need this in place. But again, it's all to maintain the safety of our community, right?
100%.
I think too, from personal experience, having worked at the hospital foundation.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yeah, knowing kind of how the hospital as a community comes together in those kinds of, I mean, of course, we never experienced anything like this before, but it always felt like everybody had everybody's back. So it doesn't surprise me that everybody was able to like go on the fly. And like, that's that team. You guys are able to do that stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. I mean, it's a really very fortunate to have that culture there and that team aspect you're talking about. I mean, if anything, I want to make a little plug here, because when the hospital opened in 2012, there was a contest to name the hospital. Yeah. So we landed on Colchester East Anne's Health Center. But I put so many ballots in to call it the Raj Mahal, and it was rejected totally. So
I would have voted for that one. I wasn't there when they named it.
Okay. There needs to be a petition. We need to start a petition to change the name of the hospital.
Let's do it.
I wanted to call the helicopter pad the Michellecopter pad, but I didn't have enough money to
if
get
we're
that.
doing one petition, we might as well do two.
Exactly. I think for the 10-year anniversary is coming up, right?
That's a great idea.
Rename Raj Mahal and Michelle.
It's a great fundraising idea for the hospital foundation, I think, if we really make it up. Yeah. Even if it's only in like really fine print somewhere, it needs to
exist. I need to take a name tag.
We're going to work on that. That's going to be our new local of Truro mission, is to rename the hospital the Raj Mahal.
I'm all for it.
Joanne Stevens just commented and said she would vote for Raj Mahal too. This is going to happen. You wait.
Oh, tell Joanne thanks.
That's awesome. And Raj, we kind of jokingly, kind of not, said at the beginning, everybody in Truro knows you. Like, I feel like you're one of those people that, like, honestly, everybody knows. And I feel like not just from your role at the hospital, but also from all of the volunteer work that you do. So you're probably going to exhaust us, but I want to. Oh, Hema's on. Hema is on. Hema, did you hear Raj talking about your hot flashes? Comment. Did. She might have tuned in late, and I need her to know that you're in trouble for doing that, Raj.
Hema, I was happy. I said there's one thing I enjoy about the fall, the cold weather. So
it's true. It was like a positive. It was sort of a positive. Yeah. It was nothing but love for you.
Yes, thank you.
She says no, she did not.
I love it. Sorry, going back to it. You're probably going to exhaust us, but can you maybe give us an idea? I know you're involved with the United Way, and there's all kinds of other projects that you have on the go. So maybe just give us a little bit of a scoop on those things that you're working on.
Yeah, no, sure. So as you mentioned, I chair the United Way of Colchester. We've got an amazing board, amazing executive director. Terry Hearn has just stepped down from that position, but Sarah Fleming is now in
Yeah.
that role, and they're both working right now together in a transition period until Sarah feels more comfortable and gains all that knowledge base as well. So, been with the United Way for over 10 years. I've actually just recently, last year, joined the Rath Eastlink Community Center Board. So that's a 4-year commitment. And the Heartland Tour, which I think a lot of people know about that as well. This year we did a virtual tour. So this is the 14th year of that, and I've been involved with that and the organizing of it since the inception of it.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and I coached soccer for CC Riders for about 15 years. And the last 10 years, I've coached the girls soccer team at Bobble Hill Junior High, and the last few years coached the boys team. But I just want to say something even about volunteering in general. If people have done it or haven't done it or are thinking of doing it, it's very rewarding. Sometimes you get asked, why do you do it? And for me, the answer is really simple. I love doing it. It's very gratifying. And you will feel like the rewards of it. And just like in soccer, for example, at Bobble Hill Junior High, I mean, this year we're not going to be having it, but in previous years, just the looks on those kids' faces as they learn and have fun, like that's where the real reward or the real gratitude is. So, and that just transcends anything I find, any volunteer work that I'm involved with. And we started the We Care About Cancer Fund 6 years ago, which is benefits cancer patients and their families here. So yeah, there's a few things I'm involved in, and again, everything that I'm involved in, I'm also surrounded by amazing people that are a part of that as well. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that we care about cancer, and you likely know my mom just passed away from
Yes.
brain cancer.
Yes.
And the time that we were there in the chemo department was Darlene, I can't remember her last name, Raj
Holmes,
Sutherland.
Darlene Holmes.
Oh, oops, I don't know who Darlene Sutherland is. Darlene Holmes. She
Yeah.
was absolutely amazing to talk to for both mom and myself. And
Yep.
Diane, her chemo nurse, was
Yeah.
just the absolute best. Like, I can't say enough good things about her.
Yeah, we're very fortunate. Like, we have an amazing, fantastic oncology team there. We just collected some data, and I mean, this isn't good news, but we're the third busiest oncology department in the province, actually, in Colchester. So, like, the
Wow.
first is in Halifax area, then Sydney, and now Colchester. So it's, but I mean, very thankful that, like as you mentioned, we have an amazing team there. And I'm sorry when I heard about your mom passing away, and I have to tell you something though. She always made me laugh though when I went in there. Like, she always had something funny to say.
She did. Her sense of humor, I swear to God, got her through all of it. And us too. And it's funny because we had a celebration of life for her recently, and
Mm-hmm.
we talked about how on May the 4th she wore her Princess Leia
I
wig.
remember that.
And so many people remember that. They were just like,
Yeah.
that woman, she's just one of a kind, right? So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh no, she was incredible.
Yeah, she really was. Thank you for saying that. And the United Way, you've been involved with the United Way for a few years, hey, for their campaign?
Yes. So this year, actually, Alicia Sims. I don't know if anyone knows Alicia. I just heard of her myself, but
Yeah. No.
She's that quiet one, right? Like
yeah. Actually, she's very quiet.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. So Alicia and I, with the Truro Buzz and Rolling Sea, the tattoo place, which she's tattooed me a couple times.
Awesome. I think we're all wearing.
Oh well, yeah. No, so we're very fortunate to have her as our campaign coach here this year. I mean, she just brings a lot of vibrancy, a lot of enthusiasm, great ideas to the campaign. Like, it's super exciting. She's been an amazing help, as we get ready to launch the campaign, which is going to look very different this year. Typically in September, we have a live launch at the Glengarry here, but this year it's going to be a virtual launch more towards the end of September, early October. So, we're working on what that's going to look like. But again, we've got a great team, so I'm very confident that that's going to bode well for us. And again, having Alicia as part of our campaign as our co-chair is just amazing, as well. All of our campaign board members. I'm not going to name them because in case I forget somebody, they'll be like, "Oh, you forgot." But that entire board is fantastic. It's like I love working with the United Way. I mean, Terry Hearn initially reached out to me and asked me if I would want to join the United Way, which I did. But over the years, it's just been very gratifying. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a sign of fall in Truro too. Is the launch of the United Way campaign, and we'll miss the luncheon this year. I was
yeah. So Ryan Summers and I have co-chaired the campaign the last couple of years, and we've done a couple of videos, which have been fun to do. So, but I'm sure Alicia's got a few tricks up her sleeve for something this year.
No doubt.
I'm sure that she does. And you say about her vibrancy and her energy. I mean, man, same goes for you. Like if you think about somebody with a lot of energy and brings so much positivity into a room, that's the case with you too.
And thanks. But you know what? I can help you with that because I have these little blue pills that have this happy.
Can we put a link to those? And we'll put a link to those blue pills in the comments, and people can get their own.
Yeah, sure. The first one's free.
Oh, this conversation just took a turn. I don't even know. We started talking about hot flashes. Now we're talking about blue pills. I don't even know. But I will say, Mary Richards did comment, and she said she remembers when you came to the hospital many years ago, and you were such a bright light. And
thank you.
And Kathy Evans is complimenting again the oncology team. We can't say enough good things. And then Hema saying you're telling all of her secrets. So I don't know, man. I don't know what kind of conversation you're going to have after this chat, but we'll keep going.
Hopefully it'll be a good one.
So how do people, because I've been around and heard about the luncheon. I've gone to the luncheon a couple of times and sadly not participated in the campaign itself. I've been there for different work things. But maybe just what does it mean to get involved with the United Way luncheon?
Yeah. So
or kickoff, sorry.
Yeah, no, yeah. So typically as you mentioned, we've had a luncheon where it's where organizations, and it doesn't have to be organizations that have contributed in the past to United Way. It can be any organization or even individuals can purchase tickets. And again, there's a lunch, there's 50-50 draw. But I think the most important thing is that people get to hear about the great work that's happening in the United Way in Colchester. And we get to hear from people like Linda at Maggie's Place and others from the Colchester Food Bank and other areas that have benefited from the great work the community has done working with the United Way. So it creates a lot of awareness. So I think that's definitely the thing I'm probably going to miss the most in person, but hopefully we'll be able to translate that virtually as well with our kickoff this year. Because if anything, because I think sometimes people do associate the luncheon with, we're kicking off our campaign and we want to, because we set goals in the past of attaining a certain amount, but really it's not about the goal. It's about creating awareness. Like, I mean, many people are aware of, our poverty statistics in our county and those that don't have, family physicians or access to certain care, those types of things. So that's what we really want to do, is create awareness about maybe other resources that people weren't aware of that they can access. And that's what happens typically at the luncheon.
And people don't realize either just how many organizations the United Way kind of, octopuses its way out into,
my goodness. If I was to, there's no way I can even list them all off myself.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not a test, but, it's you can definitely, allocate your donation. If you have a specific charity or charity.
That's right.
Go to, like, fundraiser hat just came back on after years, but you can also just give in general, and United Way has so many great programs with back to school and
bikes for kids,
and it just, if you go on their website, Google United Way Colchester, and so many different things that are happening that the United Way is involved with.
I mean, I'm hoping it'll come back. I don't know when, but our day of caring that we have, uh, we expanded it to twice a year, or we were going to. I know, so things like that. That's a good opportunity if someone wants to find out more about the United Way, or even get involved during that day. It's not the
Yeah.
entire day, but you might end up going out, like as I did, to old barns and helping with the garden there, so that fresh produce can be brought to the food bank, so that families don't have access to fresh produce can get that, right? So, or it might be going to the homeless shelter or the house, and cleaning the shelter, giving it a thorough cleaning, that sort of thing. So those are types of things that if anyone's thinking about the United Way, or even getting involved that way, that day of caring is something really special that we've been doing. So
Yeah. And Sam and I have both been involved with that. We didn't share it together, did we? Did we?
Yeah,
Did you?
I think so.
I
I was involved one year. I don't know if I was a co-chair of that, or if I was just involved, but it was such a great event.
I co-chaired it one year. Oh my God. I don't know.
You guys have taken too many blue pills.
Terry brings us in and gets us to do things.
Or not enough, Raj. I think it's more like not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's such a great event, and it just has this wonderful feeling associated with it, especially like I know folks, I was there one year when they were helping in the Marigold Center Garden too, for example.
Right.
So when you get involved with a project like that, and then later you can drive by and see the work that you did, and just feel good about the community contribution that you made, it's so great. And there's kids that got involved too. I know.
Yeah.
Well, a girlfriend of mine had her kids there one year. It's just really cool.
Yeah. No, so there's many opportunities or many ways to get involved with the United Way. You don't have to feel like you have to like join the board or that sort of thing, although we love that as well. But there's many things throughout the year that you could get involved with that are very impactful and make a difference in our community.
And man, how amazing is Terry Hearn? Like, I just need to give a shout out to Terry.
When she told me she was going to be like stepping down, I think I cried, actually, to be honest.
I hear that.
She is amazing. I mean, I've got to witness her in action over the years. Like, she's just like, she's so thorough, and she's so like passionate about the community, and where the needs are, and how do we go about like doing better. She's just, and it's just infectious. But she's, oh my God, I'm definitely we're all gonna miss her. But again, we're fortunate that Sarah's joining us as well too. So
yes,
I mean, very fortunate.
And I've worked with Sarah lots, and she is amazing. So yes, I agree. But until you know who's filling those shoes, I can imagine it being like, oh God, what are we going to do without Terry? But Sarah will be amazing.
A funny thing about that is, so Terry had asked me if I wanted to be in on the interviews, and I wasn't able to because of other work commitments. And I'm like, oh, I totally trust you. And the other board members that were involved. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I got to work with this person. So maybe I should do those interviews. But then when she told me who they landed on, I was like, yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. Nothing but good things to say about Sarah. She's one of my favorite people. She's awesome.
Oh, no,
she's just a genuine, she's an authentic person, you don't.
Yeah, I can tell. I met her before, but now we've connected a couple of times as well, and it's going to be great. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. And so you mentioned being on the rec board. That's a big job too, by the way. So
yeah,
with that.
Yeah, I mean, so I think people that know me or whatever know me fairly well. Like, I'm very active. So like I like to go running every morning, like even during my work days, and cycling and that sort of stuff. So, and we have Walk with the Doc. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but
yes.
Steve, that was an idea of Steve Ellis's that we started 6 years ago. I'm really missing that right now, that we aren't able to do that. But anyway, again, hopefully that's something else we'll get back to. So when the opportunity came and I heard about it, that they had an opening, again, I'm very passionate about being physically active and just health and wellness. So I thought this is a good opportunity for me. So that's how I landed on that.
Yeah.
But that's a very diverse board though as well, which really bodes well for our community. It's very diverse.
It's a large board as far as I know. There's quite a few.
Yes, it is very large. It's primarily made up of council members, whether they're from the town or the county. That's probably the most of the crust of it, but then you've got other community members as well. And, it is a large board, but again, there's a lot of diversity on that board. So it really lends to really good discussion. But it's...
go ahead, Raj. Oh, I was going to say,
say,
and Matt is just amazing to work with too. So that helps.
Yes. Like Matt's leadership really is, I can't even say enough good things about that. I mean, he is another example, like Terry Hearn, of, he's very passionate about the community, and he always wants the best for the community. And, that type of leadership is very infectious, right? Yeah. So, no, I think we're in good hands. I know we're in good hands with Matt and his team at the rec for sure.
And I think sorry, Raj, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Sam. Sorry.
It's okay. It's so hard to tell when you're talking through a screen. I was going to say we're lucky in Truro because we have so many people, so many leaders, like we're talking about Terry, we're talking about Matt, who get in there with people. You know what I mean? They don't just oversee and let things happen. They're actually like working with the community and working with the stakeholders to make sure that things happen the way that that the community wants them to. They're not just kind of passive leaders, which is really cool.
And for me, it's that they care. Like the caring is just, it's second to none. Like, so I do a lot of interviews for nurses at the hospital. And when I'm doing these interviews, I'm always thinking, okay, I know this nurse like graduated, so I know this nurse can do the clinical stuff. But I'm always looking for that passion and that caring and that commitment, and that, whether it's at 45 minutes or an hour, because that's what makes the difference, right?
Yeah.
And Matt and Terry and others, they definitely have that caring and compassion, which, to me makes the difference.
And you can't train people in that.
No.
Like, they either need to have it when they start, or they're never going to have it, kind of thing. Yeah.
I remember when I first started management at the hospital, it was quite a while back, and the CEO at the time, I was like, hey, you got any advice for me? And he's like this, he goes, well, just don't be a prick.
That's just good life advice.
And that's all he said to me, and I was like, I think I get it.
I actually kind of love that, and wish you could like put that in a job ad, when you're
just
getting
don't be a prick.
Yeah. This is all we ask. Know your shit, and
That might be effective, awesome. Though. I think you're onto something.
Hey, we're coming up with all the conclusions here in this conversation. We've got a new name for the hospital, new job ad. Things are looking up. That's hilarious.
I love your mugs, by the way. Heyman has one of your mugs, Sam, upstairs.
You what?
Every time I see it, your mugs, the mugs, I think you did with the writing on them. I think it says, I'm trying to remember now. I don't want to look like I don't know what it is, but I think it says one says calm or be calm or
be kind to yourself. Is that one? Or kick ass every day?
No.
There's lots of them. Just breathe. Hey, Matt, if you're still watching, you can write in the comments which one of the CMA.
But I love reading things like that, because it just, like, let's say you're not having a great day or that sort of thing. It's like, we don't have any pets, but I know people tell me, it's like you come home and your dog's like jumping on you, you just forget about everything. Yeah. I see the mug with a great saying on it or something like that. It's kind of the same, triggers the same thing.
Yes. Oh, she says it's the Can and Will. That's the one.
That's it. Can and Will. Yes.
They're really awesome. They're through. I'm going to do a shameless plug for CMHA, because I came up with those with Canadian Mental Health Association, and they are exactly for that, Raj. It's like you pick one up in the morning, and awesome. I have like 5 of them now. So I actually will look at them and I'll be like, which one do I feel like I need today? And it's like, keep going. Okay, yeah, I need to remind myself to keep going today. And I pick one. Yeah, they're great.
That's not a shameless plug. We all need one of those mugs.
Yeah, so order them through CMHA.
Maybe you should put a 5-pack together and sell it like that.
Oh, I'm writing that down. That's a great idea. A 5-pack of mugs. I really am. That's great. I love it. So, and you probably can't answer this question, but of all of the volunteer stuff that you do, what's your favorite? Like, what's the thing that you get most excited or jazzed to do?
I guess I mean, I enjoy them all, but I guess the one that really rings home for me is the We Care About Cancer Fund.
Mhm.
Um, that's a very good friend of mine. Mike Schmidt had passed away of cancer, and I got to spend a lot of time with him before it had happened, and and I think about him quite often. But that is a result of that relationship, and you know, that's where that fund came from. So, and Darlene Holmes. Darlene Holmes literally came into my office one day and said, "Hey, we got to do something for the people of this community that have to travel to Halifax and they don't have cars or transportation. Like we got to do something. So we got to start this fund." So I have to give a lot of thanks and kudos for Darlene for sparking that. But yeah, I mean, what I feel closest to is probably that one. Yeah, but I enjoy doing them all. I do. I wish
Yeah.
sometimes I had more time to do them all, but I know if Hama's listening right now, she would. I'm probably not the greatest person to live with though, because then I get a little cranky because I'm like, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that.
Yeah. She is watching because she just sent us a question for you. Are you ready? No, this is a good question, and it's obviously we're talking about CMHA and the mugs, and in some part too, balancing all of your volunteer responsibilities and your job and all of those things. Hema just mentioned we should chat a little bit about mental health in general and kind of how you
Yeah.
are able to kind of manage that with all of those responsibilities.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that's actually a good point. I mean, I think if we all are fortunate to find an outlet that maybe de-stresses us or grounds us again, we're lucky because not
Mhm.
everybody has that. Like for me, it's
Yeah.
literally that run in the morning. And during the months with the pandemic and COVID, where there were some days where I was like, oh, I was just felt like I just didn't want to do it anymore, and it happens to everybody. I would just go to exercise or I would go to reading. I love to read as well. So again, Hamo would probably get a test of this. So every evening I probably read like an hour to 2 hours just because again, it kind of centers me. It kind of de-stresses me. But again, fortunate to have that because not everyone does, right? Maybe
Yeah.
Mhm.
some or people don't have access to or even know where to start, right? And I mean, these are definitely challenging times. I mean, and they're going to continue to be challenged. I mean, the virus didn't go anywhere. I mean, we're fortunate that we've been very, very good to be able to, I guess contain it and, live the way we're living right now, knock on wood. I mean, I'm like all of us super thankful to be living in this province right now. I mean, there's probably nowhere else in the world than I'd rather be than right here. I mean, we're
Yeah.
very, very fortunate. I mean, fortunate's part of it, but we've also done a great job the way the government, whether it's municipal governments or provincial ones, have really handled this, right? So, but again, getting back to the mental health aspect, there's no doubt there's so much that we've gone through. I mean, and we continue to go through, not just with the pandemic, but with the mass shooting,
Mhm.
with kids going missing. It's just like it's a lot for a community to go through, and you definitely need to find an outlet. You need to. You might even think you might not need to, and you're okay, but you might not be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 And I think it's some of those things that you said, like, reading a book and going, just being outside, going for a walk, whatever those, it doesn't have to be something
Yeah,
that's super,
it doesn't.
intense. Yeah.
You know
Just a couple minutes or a few
that
minutes.
that reminds me, like this summer, I've gone for so many walks with my youngest son, which I had never done before, just because there was, I hate to say it, but nothing to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we spent a lot of time together at home, obviously, like other people, like everyone else. But I'm gonna like as the weather turns, I'm gonna miss those walks with him. I'm sure we'll figure out something else to do, but I don't know. It's also given us the opportunity to kind of all force us to slow down a little bit and
Yes.
really evaluate what's important to all of us, right? And families definitely right up there. So
Mhm.
I hope that
No,
you
that's,
see some of the trends, like where people working from home. Like I hope you see some of that stuff continue.
Yes.
I don't know what it's going to look like, but I mean, I think it's also provided better work-life balance for some people too, in some
Mhm.
regards. Not for
Mhm.
everyone, but also heard some people say like, "Oh my God, I can't wait to get back to work and get away from the kids and the dog and stuff." Right?
Yeah, that's all part of that balance. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
But
Thank you, Sam.
if you can divide it, I think that is helpful. Like my husband is working from home. He was moved to working from home. He has an office at the hospital / rec, and he was working from home through the pandemic. But now that he works with autistic kids. So now he's been going out and starting to do those visits again. But he still is able to do some of his work from home. And I think he's really liking that balance of, at the end of your day, you're home and you literally have that walk down the hall as your commute home, and you're able to spend time with your family and go for walks and make dinner and all of those things.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it would depend on your situation, but there's pros and cons for both, right? But I mean, I think if companies or organizations or businesses are able to have their employees work at home and their employees are just as productive, maybe if not more, and they enjoy it, then why not give them the option, right? So anyway, we'll see what happens.
That's all we can all do.
People, you're preaching to the choir, because we're both coming from our offices right now.
Yeah. I think it's great. Honestly, I do. I think it's amazing. Like I just think it's like a game. There's a lot of advantages to it too. And if the person themselves enjoys it, why not, right?
Yeah. That's the thing. And I agree with you. I had coffee with Cindy Smith this morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she said to say hi.
I know Cindy.
And we were talking about the whole difference with slowing down, and it feels the world feels less frantic. We live in Truro. Life wasn't frantic. But it just feels like people are taking a little bit more time. We're all trying to find kind of a balance. And even with myself, because when you do work from home, you sometimes have issues with stopping working when you work from home.
Right.
So for me, it was making that okay. If I'm still working at 5 o'clock, hi Cindy. She just said, "Hey Rod."
Hey
with
Cindy.
the comment. But you change your mindset in terms of what's important and what needs to get done, and it kind of pared down what the important things are, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it interesting too. It's like, again, as a result of COVID and the pandemic, I might not have gone somewhere because I had the choice to go whenever I want. But then when the choice was taken away, it was like, oh, I'd really like to go to Victoria Park or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it just really rings home again, like the real simple things, and what a beautiful province we have. I mean, I'm sure we've all spent a lot of time now in the Atlantic bubble. Maybe we would have gone to Ontario or Quebec for our summer vacations, but now there's, forced for a stay vacation for the most part, right? And I mean, it's just like Hema and I went to Lunenburg and Mahone Bay and Chester over the summer not that long ago, and it's like just the province is just so beautiful, right? But you kind of almost took it for granted.
Yeah.
And I was saying this, especially when the Atlantic bubble opened, but also before that, like if you're, like you said already, if you're going to be anywhere and stuck to anywhere, be in Nova Scotia, where you've got a beach an hour drive away or 40 minutes away.
Oh, yeah.
And especially when the Atlantic bubble opened up, that just made that even better. But there's so many places we can go to just feel better. And I don't know, Nadine Dunphy's commenting here for you too, Raj. And she's saying a few things. A, you're not cranky, which I don't know. Hema may contest that at some point.
I just feel cranky at home.
Yeah, there's a stipulation on that. And then also that working on a craft is good for your mental health, which Nadine, I agree.
Yes.
Art and writing is my thing, but any kind of creative outlet, I think is great for your mental health.
And
too.
I even say to people, like, you mentioned this, Sam, like just going for a walk. Like, how can you not feel good when you're out in nature? Like, if you're at Victoria Park or on a hike or anywhere, just out in nature, just kind of you can't help it. It's almost euphoric, really. It's like,
and you don't realize how easy it is until you do it, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
But for some people, it's hard just to even take that step to go out the door and do it, though, right?
It is. Yeah, I agree. And so another little shout out from Catherine. Raj has one of the best laughs ever. And I can actually, we talked about being in when mom was doing chemo, and I can remember very distinctly us sitting there, and you would hear you. Like we would just
Oh my
you'd be
God.
like, "Oh, Raj is close by," because you wouldn't necessarily come in, but we knew you were close because we could hear your laugh.
So I got to tell you something. Today I was at work and I was trying to get out of there, and then I was laughing, and I could hear someone because I was in my office. I could hear them say, "Oh, I hear Raj. I got to find him, right?" And I was like, I immediately stopped laughing because I didn't want to talk to him at that point. I was like, "Oh, I got to stop doing this."
You're giving yourself away.
I know. It's like I got a bell like tied to my ankle when I'm like backing up there.
Oh my God. That's hilarious. I love it. So oh man, it's been great chatting with you, Raj.
Oh,
And
great connecting with you guys.
yeah, and it's true that everyone, as you can see from all these people hopping on and commenting. And what we usually do at the end of these chats, Michelle has a question that we ask, a standard question that we ask every Truro famous person that we talk to.
I should have watched some of the videos previously.
Were you ready for this?
I'm ready.
And all the different ways I asked this question, I think I have it down. So one of our categories, of course, in the Local Love Truro Awards is your most loved place to show off Truro. So when you have people come to visit Truro, where do you go to show off the town?
Oh my God, that's easy. For me, it's Victoria Park.
Yeah.
I love going there myself. And when we were at the old hospital, one of my colleagues and I used to go at lunchtime, like running. It wasn't that actually far to run from there or jog or whatever through the park and stuff during lunchtime. I really miss that. But that's like another gem. Like, I mean, how many towns can you go to and have that immense size park with all the amazing trails and forestry and falls? It's like, it's ridiculous.
And you can still discover new places within Victoria Park. No matter, like, if you're from here, I'm from here, I've been in that park a cajillion times, but there's still little corners or little pockets that you're like, oh, I didn't realize. Or maybe they've just developed a new thing within the park. There's always something new.
Yeah.
I think Larry Anthony is the only person who knows every corner of that park.
Oh, okay.
Because he's the one changing it, right?
But I mean, I have to say though, too, like even, when you look at towns across the province and ours in the downtown core with the Civic Square and, Inglis and Prince and that, I mean, again, we're super fortunate. We are like all the amenities or anything you could ask for, we literally have right here. So it was unfortunate being on lockdown or however you want to put it that way, right? Like with the pandemic and staying at home and those types of things. But I mean, we've got such a beautiful town as it is. I mean, again, super fortunate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially places like the Rec too. I mean, I know it's limited right now in terms of who can access it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But once events start happening again and having the Rec there and hopefully anyway indoor events can come back soon.
It's funny because I pretty much try to go there every day after work just for a little quick workout or sometimes longer. But it's funny, like sometimes my workouts, I don't even work out. I just end up talking there the whole time. So I was going to say, it's like going to a gym doesn't necessarily mean like, picking up the dumbbells and stuff. It's a great social aspect of it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's a Truro thing. You go get groceries and you end up talking to somebody for hours.
Yes. But the Rec, they've done, and I have to put in a plug here, an amazing job. The way they've put the equipment and the way they've got it like spread apart and the way you access the gym and those types of things, and I'm sure a lot of people are like, hoping like, when's the pool going to come back and those types of things, but they'll come in time. But for what they've done for now and to us for have to access to it, it's really good.
Yeah.
And because you access it from the back or the upper entrance.
The upper level.
Right? Yeah. No, that's great. I know it's just really, again, we can talk about it, and I don't want to say there's too many positives that have come out of this, but there are ways to find positives, and it's all about our community kind of coming together and creatively coming up with ways to still stay open and to still engage with one another and all of those things. I think our community's been pretty amazing in terms of being able to do that and still thrive somewhat, at least, in the face of a pandemic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
for
the
sure.
outdoor patios, everything. It's just,
Exactly.
yeah, it's been, and the weather's been, I mean, it's been a great summer, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my motto for 2020 is it's better than nothing.
Yeah. And don't
You
be a
know,
prick.
everything we're
No.
doing,
What did you say, Raj?
I said, and don't be a prick.
it don't be proud, but it's better than nothing. But you know,
Well, you
all
know what?
that everybody has
kind of laugh
done.
about that, like, you know, the "don't be a prick" comment, which is, you know, it was kind of shocking at the time, or a little bit. But here's the thing about that too. So now at the hospital, I the people that are the site screeners, that, you know, when you come in the front entrance, they ask you the questions, and
Yeah.
so I kind of oversee that a little bit now. So one thing I've noticed in that case, and in general, is that we could all, like, when I say "don't be a prick," be a little kinder to each other.
Mhm.
Like, it doesn't take a whole lot to do that.
No.
Even more so in these times. Like, I see patients running low and people getting antsy, maybe about waiting or this or that. But just try and take a breath and just remember how fortunate we are, and just be kind to one another.
Because if not now, then when? Like, we're all on
Yeah,
the same page
exactly.
here, you know, or we're as close to being on the same page as I think we've ever been. There's obviously very different circumstances still for a lot of folks, but we're all experiencing something
Absolutely.
unknown. So if not, if you can't be kind now, when can you?
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Raj, listen, we had a lot of fun. This was
Yes,
a
Sam,
thank
great
you
I
for
gotta ask
coming.
you one thing though.
Yes.
I gotta ask you a question now. So I'm not on any social media platforms, but my wife is. So she's like checking this list of like local love awards, and I'm like, another year goes by, and I'm like, damn, I'm not on there again. And who's this Paul Clark guy? I love you, Paul.
I hope he's watching.
Oh yeah, me too.
I will be sure. I will. He's actually golfing right now.
That I should have guessed.
He's on a golf trip for the end of the summer, but I'll be sure to let him know that.
Let him know.
No idea who he is.
It's on.
Now,
Hey, it's on for
who...
next year. Next year, it's on for Raj for Truro
but
Famous.
I gotta send another message to Paul. Paul, I'm sorry I didn't know who you were, but listen, we all know who Alicia Sims is.
We do.
And I think that's a perfect spot to end on, right?
Exactly right.
All right. Thank you guys so much for having me on. It was
Thanks,
fantastic. I
Raj.
loved it. Thank you.
Thank you. That's awesome. We'll chat with you hopefully soon.
All right. Take care, Sam. Take care, Michelle.
Bye, Raj.
Bye. Oh,
See ya.
bye. I'll get this right someday.
That's hilarious.
Oh my goodness.
So thanks to Raj. And I just want to put in one plug for one plug for our awards that we're going to be doing live online. Michelle.
Yeah, so voting is closed. Thank you to everybody. We had, I think when I tallied everything up, we had over 1,800 ballots submitted, which is, I honestly don't know compared to last year, because I didn't compare because 2020. But 1,800 people, you know, submitting ballots is really amazing. And thank you to everybody who took the time to do so.
Yes, it's
Keep
so
it
cool.
We're just, Sam and I won't look any of you in the eye.
It's so cool. We're so excited by that. And we're excited to find a way to still be able to do the show, even though we can't be in person. And so September 17th, you're my fact checker, Michelle. September 17th, 7 p.m., 2 weeks. And we're doing a fancy dress up. So even though we can't be in person, we're asking people to watch us online, to take pictures of their fancy outfits that they're wearing, to feel like they're going to a fancy night out, even though they're at home. And we want to make it as interactive as possible. So please do that. We will be doing that. We'll be dressing up. And our friend Jamie Adamans from Clay Cafe is going to be there too. So
who is making the awards yet again. She has been our awards sponsor and creator for the whole 4 awards seasons, our award season.
Yeah, and she's Truro famous in her own right, so it's all good. So we're gonna see you next week. We have Mitch Johnson for our Truro famous chat, and then the week after that, we're gonna do our local love awards. So.
Our local love awards are at 7:00, so they're in the evening. So if you miss our live chats in the afternoon, you have no excuse.
That's right.
Evening and Mitch is Wednesday. We're doing Mitch Wednesday at noon. We're having lunch with Mitch.
That's right. Next week. All right. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks, everyone.